Welcome back to Kushka Garage, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I know I am, because today I'm working on the 1998 Toyota Tacoma SR5. Let me get you turned around, show you what I'm talking about. So there is our taco of choice, 98 Toyota Tacoma SR5. Got a 5-speed manual, 3.4 liter V6. And today, we're working on some front end parts. So I thought this is going to be a pretty straightforward, fun project, just swapping out some springs and a half shaft. But the further I dug in, the more I realized that there was more wrong with it, such as, one second here, such as blown ball joints, ripped boots, packed with mud. Both ball joints were toast, so we got the lower and the upper. Already got one side changed. CV axles, of course, toast. There's more dirt in here than there is, I don't know if you can see that, more dirt in here than there is grease, and that thing just fell apart. So we got to do some more part swapping. And because I live in Alaska, we salt our roads, everything was rusted. So of course I was stripping bolts, had to bust out the ankle grinder, cut some things off. And hopefully we don't have to do that with the passenger side, because I have been soaking that whole side in penetrating oil. We've had some nasty weather here the past couple of weeks, and as you know, I'm a do-it-yourself weekend warrior driveway mechanic, so if it's not nice out and it's not my day off, I can't really do too much. So here we are. Here is our parts. I got a 2.5 inch lift rough country front strut to replace this stock strut that had a 2.5 inch spacer in it. So now we'll have the full travel, full on legit. It's one whole complete system, so you don't have to mess around with compressing springs or anything. It's just a swap out, swap in. I got a Cardone CV joint, or CV axle, half shaft, and we have our ball joints and stuff that we picked up at the local parts store. So I'm hoping that'll be pretty straightforward. I also have some brake pads I'm going to toss in there and a rotor while it's all apart. And then stay tuned, because let me show you something. So we're on the driver's side. I just wanted to show you what we did. There's your upper ball joint. There's that new spring. Looks pretty sweet. And then there's the half shaft. And get you in there. That lower ball joint. Probably won't be able to tell on film, but it does sit a little higher on this side. And I have taken it for a test drive, and it feels amazing. The suspension is absolutely shot in this truck, except for the one side that I replaced, and that feels very nice. The whole truck just kind of wobbles around it, so I can't wait to replace the other side, get in alignment, and go have some fun. First thing you want to do is chock your tires. Now we're going to remove the wheel here. If you don't have an impact, you'll want to loosen up those lugs first before you jack it up, but if you already have an impact, then you know what to do. Alright, I like to use jack stands and then throw the tire in there as far as I can, just in case things go wrong and it comes down. At least I'll have some kind of support. Okay, so next we're going to remove this caliper. Once the caliper is removed, we'll be able to pull off the rotor. Then we can knock off this cap, pull that CV nut, the axle nut, and then we can get the ABS sensor removed and out of the way. And then we can start working on the ball joints. Okay, there are two bolts, two 17mm bolts we need to remove. We got one right here, one right there. Get ourselves a cheater bar. Ooh, how's it going? There she goes. Definitely be throwing some anti-seize in all of this. Oh, come on. See, one of the benefits of doing all the work yourself is when you put it back together, you can anti-seize everything, and you can use torque specs if you want. You can not cross thread everything. Because I guarantee whoever's you have doing work for you doesn't care about your vehicle as much as you do. Why should they? And so far these ball joints don't look as messed up as the other ones. Oh yeah, nice and rusty. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that in loosely. Let me get this other one. When we pull this caliper off, you're going to want some zip ties or some auto mechanic wire or something. Tie this thing up out of the way. Let's see. That'll be good enough for now. See, this rotor's stuck on there a little bit. Just inspecting these ball joints a little bit. I don't know if you can really see that, but these are not ripped like the other side, so they're probably fine and don't actually need to be changed. However, since the other side was so rusted, because these top bolts right here, or these bolts right here that run all the way through and the top threads are exposed, a lot of rust gets, a lot of moisture and dirt gets trapped in there and it rusts, and I stripped both sides and had to cut it off. So if I leave them on and I wait till they actually go, the next time I gotta take them off, it's gonna be such a pain in the ass. I'm gonna have to go through all of that again. And these have already been soaking for probably a couple of weeks now, so I think I'm just gonna do it while I'm here, even though the ball joints are probably all right. I don't think they're that old. They just, the boots ripped on the other side and fried the other ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it, just so that when I put the new ones on, I can go ahead and put anti-seize on everything, because the next joker that comes through here and fixes this is probably gonna be me. So if you're working on this yourself, then it'll be you as well, so you might as well do yourself a solid, especially if you don't know the last time they've been changed, or who changed them, or what kind of care they took. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Before we go loosening up our ball joints and things, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this dust cap and pull that axle nut off. Then I'm gonna give the CV joint a little bit of a tap to loosen it up, so that when we are ready to remove this whole hub assembly, everything just pops out nice and easy without too much hassle. Okay, we got a cotter pin here. Keeper, and your axle nut is a 35 millimeter. If you guys don't already have an impact wrench of some sort, I highly recommend getting this Milwaukee Fuel cordless M18. Okay, got my dead blow. Give that just a little tap just to unseat it there, so that when I pull the hub assembly off, it just all pops right off. Okay, now for the part I've been dreading the most. Now for the part I've been dreading the most, I'm going to go ahead and try knocking these rear bolts loose. There's 4 of them, 2 on each side, 14 millimeter. And I highly recommend not using an impact gun on this. Just do it by hand. Try not to strip it. If you feel it starting to strip, just go ahead and stop and try to reevaluate the situation. I think I'm going to use a 6-point first and see if that works. I do have a nice, I forgot what these are called, these all the way through deeper sockets, I don't know, but it has really nice teeth on it, so that might, actually I can't even get my tool in there. That's the other thing, it's really tight spaces, so it's really difficult to get anything in there, which is why I ended up busting out the angle grinder and just cutting it off on the other side. So hopefully I don't have to do that, because that takes a lot of extra time, especially on the other side because there's nubbins. I'll show you. These guys right here get in the way, and makes the job just that much more fun. Okay, it's nice and slow. No, she wants to strip. How easy does that look? All right, I'm going to use some heat. Typically not something you really want to do in this area because there's so many rubber parts around, like you'll fry some boots, but it's all coming out, so here we go. Give it a good whack. Also, it's important to note that it's only threaded right here. The actual ball joint assembly is not threaded, which is why you can get away with just cutting that off. Okay, come on, baby. Wants to thread. Oh, man, yes. Give it some more heat. Oh, it's moving. It's moving. Holy crap. Yes. There we go. Yep. you go, look at all that rust. And don't worry if you have to cut them off or they strip or whatever. The new ball joint assembly comes with new bolts. So all is good. Alright, let's go ahead and tackle that other side. Go ahead and test this out first before I throw some heat and stuff on it. Oh, I have to throw some heat on it. Flashlight's dying. Okay. Got another light. Provide some more heat, cool down a little bit. It's moving. It's moving. Yes. Ooh, so happy. So happy. Okay. If I can fit this, we can just burn it off. Okay. Also very rusted. That literally was the hardest part of the other side. Everything else was pretty easy peasy. Okay. Now, I still got a bolt on each side. On the front, we got to take off. If I can see it, there's like no space in this one. goes. There we go. That's where I need a 90-degree angle impact. Everything is very rusty. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the ABS sensor right here. Just looking at this, I'm guessing whoever worked on this last probably broke the head off the bolt, because we just got a bunch of mechanic wire holding everything in place. So that's awesome. Doesn't surprise me though, because on the other side, when I was unbolting these harnesses, I snapped every single bolt. Everything was so rusted, so it's just good to come in here every once in a while and swap out parts before it gets too nasty. All right, I'm gonna get some wire clippers and clip this wire off, and then the sensor should pull right out of the hub assembly where it's sitting on the reluctor wheel. And then I believe this is a 10mm here and a 10mm here. Those two brackets will come off, and then the whole ABS sensor wire should be completely removed from this hub, so that when I am ready to remove the hub, it won't get snagged up. Cody, were you the last one to work on this? Are you watching this video? Did you do this? Let's see, how the hell can I get my clippers in there? Or we can just snap it. Ooh. Moved. And this is a little rusty. There we go. Come on. Get out of there. There we go. Okay, so this bottom one is a 12, this top one is a 10. And why are they different sizes? Well, of course they are. Why would they not be? I think that I can probably just do this side. Yeah, let's do this. To snap this, let's do it in spectacular fashion. Or just strip it. I'm gonna try an extractor. You know, I wish the bolt head would just freaking snap off. That would make it a lot easier. Son of a bitch. Might cut it off if I can. Okay, got that out of the way. Need to release this brake line here. You know, a guy gets tired of asking nicely every once in a while. But that's also the benefit of it being your truck. Or my girlfriend's truck. She gave me free rein on it, so don't feel too bad about it. All right. That is out of the way. That'll be zip tied up later. and it snapped. I'd rather it snap than sit there and strip and cut it off. Okay. Try to get this back out of the way. Okay, we are ready to start undoing all of these ball joints here. So, if I remember correctly, every single one of these ball joint castle nuts is a different size. And we have this upper ball joint, so we got a cotter pin we gotta strategically take out somehow. We got the tie rod here. And then we got the lower ball joint. I'm gonna go ahead and start at the top because I see it right there. Looks like the easiest to get to. Try to get you a better view here. Little trick for you. Alright, your top ball joint is a 19 millimeter. one come out. That is a 22. It's nice and snug. Uh-oh. Get out of the way there. The fun thing about filming is careful always the way. There we go. Oh, I should have loosened that up first. Oh, God. There we go. Oh yeah, that's nice and rusty too. Everything is getting at it seems. I don't know if how well you're gonna be able to see this. But I'm doing the same exact thing on this bottom guy. Got a 19, 22, and I think that was a 15/16 fit on here the best. 15/16, that's right. Little 15/16. Yodas are strange, man. Yodas are strange. Okay. Now, all we have to do is get my ball joint puller. We're gonna put some tension with a ball joint puller. I'm gonna hit it with some heat. Maybe even give it a couple little love taps with a hammer and these should pop right out. Alright, this beautiful tool right here is called a ball joint puller, or just a puller. See? Picked it up on Amazon. A kit. Came with a few different types of pullers. This one has served me very well for pulling off a variety of things. The kit is not very expensive, it's very affordable. So I'll go ahead and put a link in the description, because if you don't got one, you're going to want one of these. You're going to want an impact. There's just a couple of specialty tools that'll make your life a lot easier if you do your own work and you don't already have this stuff. Okay, so the trick here is to put a little bit of tension on and then hit it with some heat so that this outside, the outside expands a bit. It should pop right off. If it doesn't, we'll give it a little more tension, maybe a little bit of a tap. Or it just pops right off. That works too. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here. A little less room. So. Oh, that popped right out too. Maybe soaking in penetrating oil for a couple of weeks was the thing to do, because that didn't take any effort at all compared to the other side. Alright. One more right down here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to get in there and see. Alright, realize you don't have the best angle. You've seen me do the other two. It's the same thing. Come on now. There she goes. Can't believe how easy this side's going compared to the other. 2 weeks of penetrating oil did the trick. Alright, the whole kit and caboodle should just come right out now. If your CV axle is pretty well shot, I guess that's what happens. Or a ball joint. This tie rod could use some oil. It's fine though. I don't feel like messing with that just yet. That feels good. Alright. That's a good thing I checked, because check this out. That's water. It wasn't full of grease, it was full of water. And this feels pretty crusty. So I guess it is a good thing we're pulling all this stuff apart. Let's see, this bottom ball joint is that boot. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little tear in there. It feels good though. But yeah, torn boot. This whole thing's got to be replaced. Top one's full of water. That's got to be replaced. So it's a good thing we're doing this. Alright. This next bit's going to be a little fun to try to record and get a crowbar in here, but we have to pop out the remaining part of this CV axle. We're going to use a crowbar. They make these little divot things, but that doesn't seem... And yeah, that works all right, but I like to get my crowbar in there a little bit more. Okay, so all we got to do is get behind it and pop it out. Try to do this with the camera in my teeth. Now there's a little oil seal on the back, so you want to be careful not to break it. And that oil seal looks just fine. So we are good to go there. Okay, the last bit is we got to remove the shock here. There are 3 bolts on top, or 3 nuts on top that are 14 millimeter. One here, one in the back, and triad format. Do not touch that center bolt, because that is holding all that spring load, and you'll hurt yourself really bad if you take that off willy-nilly. And so this is a really tight tolerance back here. It's hard to get really any wrench, and they're also on there pretty tight and probably pretty rusted. It wasn't the last one, so I found that this wrench, I forgot what it's called. If you know what the proper name for it is, put that down in the description for us so we all know. But this is, I use this when I'm like tightening nuts on like 8-inch lag bolts, because it goes all the way through, it doesn't bottom out. But it also has a really small profile so that you can get in there and get all of those nuts. I found that with just a box end wrench, it was wanting to strip on the other side. So got 3 here. I don't know if I really have a light situation for you, but I'm going to do my best. Hopefully you can see that well enough. If you can't, I apologize. Oh my god, these are on there tight. Get these all loosened up here. A bit more awkward. Oh, don't you guys strip. Oh, fuck. That one's a strip. Okay. That wants to strip. Son of a bitch. Okay. So throw this on. Try to get her all the way on. Use a 3/4 inch to put around that, if I can. Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay. Well, pain in the ass, but we'll get her. I'd rather take my time and do it right than try to rush through it, strip it, have to cut it, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Can actually fit this on here. Nope. Anywho, I think I'm going to time lapse this real quick because it uses less battery power and it's not going to be like 10 minutes of me just wrenching here. Right, last thing we got to do for disassembly is remove this bottom through bolt here. It's a 3/4 nut, 3/4 bolt, and I went ahead and lightly threaded on one of these nuts right here on top so that this whole thing doesn't just drop out on me when I remove this bolt. Just a little safety precaution. So go ahead and get to it. Don't lose that. How nice and cross-threaded that is. Who did that? Not me. Okay. It just pops right out. All right. Now disassembly is complete. It is getting a little late here right now for this time of year. About 5 o'clock in October, mid-October. We're losing light pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and pack up and take it into the garage. And we'll probably have to do a reassembly tomorrow or another day, depending on weather, and make sure we got enough light. But let's go ahead and get things packed up, move it on inside of the garage, start cleaning up that hub and get the ball joints in place, and we'll get back to it. Welcome to the next day. It's actually pretty nice outside, so I think we're going to go ahead and finish this off. But first, we got to press out this ball joint, and I took the whole assembly out so I could, you know, press this out for you easy enough. And then you have this oil seal for the axle oil seal that's going to be replaced with a brand new one right here. That's what it looks like. And also the new Cardone CV axle came with an additional oil seal that goes onto the CV axle, and it creates this little an actual seal instead of this being open like every other axle that you get, CV shaft. So that's kind of sweet. So we're going to try that out and see how well it works. It should prevent all that dirt from getting in the bearing. So we're going to go ahead and press this out. We're going to press a new one in. We're going to pull the old oil seal off. We're going to repack the bearing with grease. Give everything an inspection, make sure it's cleaned out, make sure there's no debris in there, make sure the bearing's still good. This would be a good time to replace that whole hub assembly if you wanted new bearings packed in there, new everything that's not rusted. Couldn't get one here in time, and I need to do this now before winter kicks in, so we're just going to go ahead and roll with it. Luckily the bearing still looks good, everything looks fine, so it's not a real big rush. Just gotta clean things up a bit. All right. Okay, so the first thing we gotta do when we press out this bearing is we gotta remove the retaining clip right there, which these are pretty well stuck in there. So actually I might have to flip this around. So I'm going to take off this boot. There's this little retaining spring Dealy Schneegen right there. We can remove that, pull the boot off, and then it'll be a hell of a lot easier to access that snap ring. And then we got to pound that snap ring, or I might cut it off or something, I don't know, depending on how rusted it is on there. Okay, go ahead. Don't worry about destroying it because it's not going back on. Yeah, look at all that water. Nasty. So just your basic spreader should do the job, but this looks pretty well rusted in there. I might just cut it. Yeah, I'm just going to cut it out of there. I think. Okay, with that retaining clip removed, should be able to just blast this thing out of there. Wipe this down a little bit. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of heat. Give a little bit of tension. Oop, that didn't work. There she goes. Okay, got our new ball joint here, ready to be pressed in. Comes with a new castle nut, new retaining ring. Got your little Zerk tip there. This one's a greasable fitting. And it comes with a new cotter pin. So I gotta press so we can press this in. But I think what I'm gonna do is take this boot off, because this snap ring is pretty difficult to get over the boot. And I'll show you why, because when we spread out this snap ring, it wants to like bind on us, and it gets caught up on the boot, and then you can destroy the boot and everything. So the trick is you want to take this off without destroying the boot. So I don't know, it might be easier to press it in first, then take it off, but let me just try to do this on camera here. Just try with my fingers. I don't want to poke the boot. If I can just get under, because it's wrapped around like a key ring. And if you can just get under without destroying the boot. That's what you want to do. Maybe something more delicate than a pick here. Maybe a screwdriver. Just want to get in and under. Almost. Now maybe I can get my pick in there. If anybody has a simpler, easier, surefire way to do this that looks a little, it's easier than what I just did, let us know in the comments. But otherwise, this boot should just pop right off. There we go. And we can see the factory grease in there. That's all right. And if you have the non-greasable kind, then this is a good time to pack it with more grease. You can pack the boot, pack this area with more grease, so that when you put your boot on, it's all nice and greased up. Okay, so with that off, go ahead and grab the snap ring, show you what I'm talking about. The snap ring would be a lot easier to just get on there, and we need to seat it right here in these grooves. Okay, so I have a ball joint press to press this in. I'm going to go ahead and get it set up and get back to you. And if you're interested, these are the kits that I'm using to do this. Got them both on Amazon, pretty decent price. Not going to break the bank or anything. Especially because if you do this, one time, you basically pay for the tools itself. The job pays for itself, as opposed to paying a shop to do it. So this will do a whole assortment of ball joints. Just kind of pick the ones that fit the best. I'm not the most proficient. I'm not going to go through all of that. If you know, you know. If you don't, then you'll probably fumble around a bit like I do and try to find the right parts that fit so you can press your new ball joint in. It's not too difficult, not too big of a deal. I'll just get it set up real quick how I found that works for me and show you. So before I put this ball joint in and get it all pressed in, I'm going to go ahead and lube up this area with some grease, reduce that friction, a little rust prevention, get all the mating surfaces. This will just make it easier to press in. And metal is porous, so it likes grease. It'll just prevent it from rusting. Hopefully make it a little easier to take out the next time. We'll see though. But either way, it makes it easier to install. Okay, I think I got enough space to do this here. That's what I'm working with though. So this is hollowed out so that the ball joint, little stem stud thing, can press through without getting jammed up. Then this is basically just a cap that fits over the ball joint. And I got it more or less lined up. Hopefully it's good enough. As you see, there's not a whole lot of room for clearance here. And this actually, upper ball joint is probably easier to change when it's actually in the truck, but that's how she goes. Okay. Get you lined up here enough. I'm going to use the swivel bit. Hopefully I got enough room. We'll see. Looks almost all the way seated. Give one little torque there. Let's just check everything out here. Now we just want to make sure that it's fully seated in there. Looks like it is. Okay. All right, guys, we are at the end of the video here. Got some bummer news for you. This was supposed to be a removal and install video of all those parts. And I recorded all of those clips very meticulously. Took me a long time. And the SD card corrupt on me. I found that out when I was working on another project. And I didn't know that I lost half of my files until I was editing, just tonight. I've been working on this video for like the past 4 hours. Yeah, to say I was bummed would be an understatement. Because, it would have been a pretty good part 2. I think this is a pretty long video as it is. It's like 1 hour and 15 minutes. So apologies for it being so long. But, this is one of those things where, I wanted... For YouTube, ideally, it would have been good to do, a ball joint video, a CV joint video, a strut video, have 3 videos, stretch it out, make shorter videos. But if you got all the parts already... realistically, it makes the most sense to just take it all off, put it all back on, because, you got to get a lot of that stuff out of your way anyways to get to every other thing. So, might as well just get her all done at once if you can. So that's what I did. Made the most sense, and I was trying to beat the clock because, winter was right around the corner, and we're right in the smack dab in the middle of winter right now. Yeah, so... those were the circumstances. I am bummed out about that. I even took you for a ride along, but fret not. I will take you for a ride along here before too long. I just want to give you a little sneak peek of something real quick. So, you've seen the condition of those boots, how ripped up they are. The CV joints are freaking fried. And that is pretty typical of any Toyota that has a lift like the one that we were working on. And there is a differential drop kit, a front differential drop kit you can pick up on Amazon and install, and it looks super easy. I'm kind of jealous that they don't make these for my other two trucks, because this was like 30 bucks. It's literally just like a 1-inch spacer, some new bolts, and some stickers and shit. But that's going to drop the differential down. Ooh, even comes with a cool keychain. Little bottle opener, will come handy. But that's going to drop the front differential, which is going to straighten out the angles a bit more on the CV axles. And the killer on those CV axles, it's not just like the joints, binding up, because that, doesn't affect really like too much. Not as much as the boots ripping, because when the boots bind up at those hard angles, they rub together. When they rub together, they break. When they break, they let all the water and dirt and shit in, and that's really where your U-joints get affected. So this diff drop kit should cure that. But it's middle of winter right now, and I ain't laying on the ice right now to install that, so I'm gonna wait for that. And then I'm gonna do, since the angles are all off now with new ball joints and everything, the toe is a little off, the camber is a little more exaggerated, so I'm gonna have to get the toe back in a line enough to get it to the shop, because it's pretty bad right now. So I think I'm gonna use the old string technique, where you run some string from your back tire to your front tire, and then adjust your tie rod until your tire is touching both, or the string's touching both sides of the tire. And then I can take it to the lineman shop, and then they can do it professionally from there, get that camber back in. Because anytime you do a lift like that, your camber is going to be off, your tires are going to be kicked out a little bit, and you're going to get some pretty gnarly wear, I think on the outside of your tires, or the inside, outside. Yeah, I think it's the outside. But anyway, so still got that to do. Still got a nice special metal door handle to install on that Toyota, which is going to be sweet. That's because those plastic OEM handles break every year, every 2 years. You Yoda guys know what I'm talking about. Pain in the ass. But finally got a fix for it. I don't know where that is. It's somewhere around here. Got parts everywhere, I swear. No, that's a good one. Anyways, I'll show that to you in another video. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to say that real quick. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helped you out in some way. And I know I didn't get the install done, but we did get a lot of removal footage, step-by-step, play-by-play. So it should be enough to get you through the installation, because after all, the installation is just the removal in reverse. So it's not too bad. It's pretty difficult. The hardest part is removing everything. Installing it, it's super, super easy. If there's any, let me think if there's any tips I can give you for installing. I would start with, what did I start with installing? Install the CV axle, get the strut in there, and then install your hub assembly, I think is what I did and what made the most sense. But play with it, think about it and play with it. Make sure that makes the most sense to you, because you're going to get parts and shit in the way, and I mean, you can do it in any order, but I think that was the easiest way, was get that CV axle in there. And it's really easy to put that CV axle in. It's just you see me just pop it out, and all you need is just your hands to push it back in. Just give it a little wiggle. It'll pop back in pretty easy, and then get your strut in there, and then get that hub assembly in. Bob's your uncle. It's not too difficult. Hardest part's getting it taken apart. But anyways, guys, hope this helped you out. It looks pretty badass. I'll roll that beginning clip again so you can see what it looks like on the one side, and you'll get to see the whole thing all over again here whenever I get around to installing the drop kit. And I'll just show you all the parts and everything and how it looks. And we are definitely going to take that thing out, way out the road. And there's this cool little trail that goes around this cove. It's called Echo Cove. It's a nice little sandy, rocky trail. There's a cool camping spot out, and so we're either going to go do a little off-roading, or we're going to do some off-roading and camping, some overlanding, true Couche garage style. So that should be fun. We'll cook some steaks, have some cold snacks, have a good old time. All right, guys. Happy New Year, and have a good day.